the man was in the middle of a gun deal. He noticed that the buyer could load the gun faster than he could, even faster than him as an agent. Even when he deliberately misaligned the sights, the buyer could still hit the bullseye accurately. This made the man realize something was off. The buyer was definitely a professional hitman. He thought about how he had requested retirement from the organization just a few days ago, and then the organization had arranged this deal for him. He was sure there was a connection between the two. But unexpectedly, the buyer handed the gun to him and asked him to fire it next to himself to test the silencer's effectiveness. The man could have easily killed the buyer with one shot, but he didn't. He thought of a better way. After testing the weapon, the buyer was very satisfied and immediately paid a large sum of money. However, the man didn't hand over the gun. Instead, he said the gun needed some modifications and asked the buyer to wait a few more days. The buyer didn't think much of it. As the man was about to go home, he deliberately parked his car on the side of the road, kicked in the bumper, and then drove into an auto repair shop. He pretended to be a customer in need of repairs and stole what he needed for his plan. Once he got home, he quickly disassembled the stolen parts, shaped them with a hammer, broke the stolen steel tube into many small pieces, and attached them to a prepared casing. In this way, the silencer for the sniper rifle was completed. Next, he needed to make a suitable gun body. He went to the black market and bought some parts. After some assembly, the assembled gun looked no different from an ordinary one. The most important step was next. He filed the bullet tips flat, drilled a small hole in them, and carefully dripped mercury into the bullets. This way, even if he didn't kill the enemy in one shot, the toxicity of the mercury would ensure the enemy wouldn't live long. Time flew by quickly. The man arrived at the designated deal location. He thought everything would go smoothly, but then the buyer suddenly said he needed to go to the restroom to inspect the goods. This gave the man a start, but in the end, the buyer had no issues. Holding the final payment in his hand, the man realized he had overthought things. But just as the buyer was leaving, he received a phone call. This made the man sense danger and he prepared to leave the city with his girlfriend. What he didn't know was that at that very moment, a scope was trained on him. It was the female hitman he had dealt with. Seeing her target right in front of her, she pulled the trigger. But unexpectedly, the gun backfired.